Hey scrappers, let's talk about radiators today and the different types and how to clean them. The difference between clean, dirty, irony. Irony and dirty are going to be the same category. Different places are going to call it different things. You've heard me say that before in other videos. So even if it's not steel that's on it, if it's plastic, they're still going to call it irony or dirty. And typically you're going to lose about 50% of your price if you sell your stuff irony or dirty. Alright, let's get started with copper aluminum radiators. These things are going to have a big chunk of steel on the end. A lot of people tend to cut these right here and they leave the copper rings inside of the steel piece, and it's a pain to try to pry these out with a screwdriver. I found for us the most profitable way for me is if it has these tabs on here like this, just take a hammer and bend these tabs back out of your way. Now you can take your Sawzall cut right against this steel and take these tabs off, and you're going to have all number 2 copper, and then you just take your hammer and knock this piece of steel off, and it's going to clean this radiator. Alright, now the key to this is you want to try to cut it as close to this steel as possible. Otherwise, there's a flange right here where it goes together and it's not going to hammer off there very easily. And as long as you cut it close, that steel comes right off, and now this is all clean. You want to do it to both sides. That's going to be your best way to maximize your profit on these, and then you don't have to try to wrestle your rings out of the steel piece when you get done. There's some people that'll take a grinder and cut into these aluminum fins and try to pull the copper out. I've personally ran tests on there. You don't come out hardly at all by doing that. To me, this is the best way, is just to clean it like I just showed you and sell it like this to maximize your profit. Alright, next up we have your brass radiators. Some places call these copper radiators. It's a mixture of brass and copper, so it just depends on where you're at, what they call it. Heater cores are going to go with these. Heater cores are going to be a few cents less a pound than what the actual radiators are. You want to scratch these, check them, make sure they're brass. As long as they are, make a pile of these and make sure there's no steel or plastic on them, and those are going to go as just under a brass price. And then as far as the radiators go, there's a lot of steel and plastic on these. The ends usually have a big steel bar that run across them. Your cap's always going to be steel, and then you're going to have some plastic plugs, and these are just soldered on the ends right here. A lot of people tell you to cut these with like a cut-off wheel and walk around them. Hopefully this works. I'm going to show you how to take it off with a hammer, and it's usually quite a bit faster than trying to cut it. Alright, as you can see, the only thing left on here is the solder. All the steel came off, and now there's no metal left. Well, I lied. Alright, now there's no metal left on this thing. You just want to flip it over, do the same thing to your other end, and then make sure you get all your little plastic plugs and any steel that's left on it out. And this thing's going to go as a clean radiator. The only thing I want to show you, this one doesn't have it. A lot of times they'll have a transmission cooler, and the nuts that hold the transmission cooler in will be steel. You just have to take those off with a wrench, and you got a clean radiator. Alright, now we got your aluminum radiators, which this is going to be your most common radiator out of just about any kind of car now. And what they'll have on here is they have these crimped edges, and it'll be crimped all the way down around this plastic with a seal in it. Now, a lot of people will take their Sawzall and just cut this off, and you lose all this aluminum. The best thing you can do, I'm not going to actually show you how to do this one, but it's pretty self-explanatory. If you put it on the ground and stand on the radiator and take your hammer and hit right here on these crimps, it'll roll the crimps up, and you just walk down both sides. You want to flip your radiator over, hit the crimps on the other side, and this plastic will fall off. And this right here is your transmission cooler. This is where it hooks in at. Inside here, you want to check that piece. Sometimes it's going to be brass, other times it'll be aluminum. Pull that off that plastic and you can put it right with your radiator. And if it's brass, you can put it in with your brass. The same thing, you just want to get all the plastic. You want to get the plastic on both sides. And then if the edges are steel, which most of the time they're not, every once in a while you'll run into some steel edges, but keep that in mind, and that's going to be your easiest way to clean those as well. And then your heater cores will go right with those. Check them for steel. This container on here is steel. That nut right there is steel, and then these tabs are going to be steel for your mounting points. You just want to take your Sawzall or your grinder, knock that steel off. You're going to have a clean radiator. If you have a lot of this foam on here, just pull this foam off. A little bit they're not going to care about, but if it's covered, sometimes they'll have the whole top and the whole bottom covered. You just want to get that off, and that's going to go with your clean radiators as well. Alright, hopefully that helps you guys out. We're going to put a few more videos out. If you have any questions, hit us up on Facebook. And if you like the videos, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be putting a few more out for you. Thanks.